At the worldwide headquarters of Big Play on the shores of Lake Erie. Welcome to Greenie Sports Cards Live, the world's very first multi-stream broadcast for the hobby industry. This is episode 124. For those of you that have been with us a little while or since the very beginning, well over 2.5 years ago, things will look a little different. We are growing up. We've got better cameras. We have better microphones. We have working internet, possibly, for the time being. We have a proper set, and we have more bells and whistles than ever before to play with. That said, we are still live, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we do every Tuesday night. Anything can happen. It is a live show, and tonight is about getting comfortable in our new surroundings here at the BIGPLAY Studios. As the shows progress, we will continue to add new and exciting features, content, and segments. What has not changed is our commitment to showcasing the hobby, interviewing influencers, athletes, coaches, entertainers, and producers from card shows around the country, sharing hobby news and telling long-form stories about the hobby, and especially the people shaping the collectibles industry. Today is no exception. Later on, we will welcome in Josh Pankow, the president of Leaf Trading Cards. Our resident hobby insider, Joe Wysmierski from Phoenix Sports Cards, will join us for hobby news. And Greenie himself will take you around the country for stops at his top 5 card shows to look out for in the coming weekend. And that will take us to Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Illinois, West Virginia, and even up north. So with that, a little bit different tonight, a little bit of a different open. Let's go ahead and welcome in the man himself, Steve Greenberg, a.k.a. Greenie, the namesake of Greenie Sports Cards Live. Greenie, good evening, my friend.
Hey, happy Tuesday from our new studios here at Big Play. I got to see some airplanes. I got to see all the Chris Brown fans coming that playing at Huntington Bank Stadium. Terrific. I'm not in my confines of my bedroom. I'm out in the big world now, like a grown-up.
We're growing up. I got out of the basement and into the big world. We are steps from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, steps from Huntington Bank Field at Cleveland Brown Stadiums, here from the BIGPLAY Studios. And our big announcement last week, Greenie, is that after 123 episodes of being the first multi-stream broadcast, this was the first show to actually go across multiple streams live and talk about the hobby well over 2.5 years ago, as I said. We announced that we were moving to the BIGPLAY Studios this week. Here we are live. As a part of that announcement, there's a second piece to that. And yesterday we announced the launch of the BIGPLAY Collectibles Network, and we couldn't be prouder of that. BIGPLAY Collectibles Network is the presenting sponsor of Greenie Sports Cards Live, which will serve as the anchor show on Tuesday nights here from 7 to 8 p.m. And it will be part of a growing network of content and shows and hobby news and all kinds of stuff for the collectibles industry. And it's going to be very exciting, especially coming up, Greenie, as we head towards the National Sports Collectors Convention. I want to thank Dave, BIGPLAY Dave McAllister, and Mike, and Nick, and Ryan, and Jack, and Bailey for jumpstarting this thing. Being part of the BIGPLAY Network is a really impressive family of shows and content with outposts in Cincinnati, Columbus, Baltimore, of course, here in Cleveland, Detroit, and down in Columbus as well. And really proud to be part of a team that includes some luminaries both here locally and across the NFL from and MLB, from Carlos Baerga, who's got a show here with BIGPLAY, to top dog Hanford Dixon, who, by the way, Greenie, was just announced for the Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame induction this year. You've got Josh Cribbs, Bobby Carpenter, Daniel Boobie Gibson from the Cleveland Cavaliers fame, and Gabriela Cruz, Jason Lockenfor, of course, McNeil, and Nick Padone, and a whole host of others. And really proud to be part of a team that reaches 4.4 million social fans across the world, really. And here we are, the little engine that could, and we're here on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And, you know, a lot of those names that you mentioned actually have trading cards, right? We worked together with BIGPLAY and McNeil and made a Muni card lot set, or Muni lot cards. And now here we are on the stage that the same guys and gals sit and talk sports all day. And, you know, we're going to be different. We're going to talk collectibles. We'll obviously mix in sports. We know that the World Cup and the things that have happened in there, but it's a collectibles show, and that's the root of what we do. And we're going to bring that to this forum and others with the live trading card shows, the national, the different content that we can bring. So we are looking forward to this new endeavor, old endeavor in a new location, and hitting the World Wide Web.
Yeah, Greenie, we mentioned we're going to talk to Josh Pankow from Leaf Trading Cards. We'll have Headband Joe joining us, our resident hobby insider, to give you his take on the hobby world. For those who haven't seen this show or know of us, Greenie, give a little bit of a background on who you are and your standing in the collectibles industry for decades upon decades now.
Yeah, welcome. So this is all new, right? I'm used to looking at my laptop. Now I have cameras. This is great. So we're going to tell the whole world who we are here. Steve Greenberg, also known as Greenie. Been doing this for quite a few years. We won't age ourselves here, Jeremy, but we've been working at this for several years, going back to, you know, when LeBron was a rookie, you know, so we'll date ourselves for that. But buying and selling cards for umpteen years, producing card shows, and then you and I got together several years ago and created this kind of new area, right? We're producing live shows, and now we're producing more content together. And I couldn't be prouder of the way that this has transformed over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's been really amazing evolution, and you know, we might date ourselves by this. You and I go back almost 5 decades at this point. We grew up on the same street in University Heights, Ohio, and one of these days we'll show you a picture of us with a lot more hair back then. We've known each other a long time. We've been producing a long time. Our family's been in media for a long time, which is ironic bringing us to this space. My hobby roots run deep, unexpectedly. I spent 15 years at the International Exposition Center here in Cleveland, Ohio, where we played host during my tenure for 5 cycles of the National Sports Collectors Convention. My first national was in 2000, then produced the show in 2001 in conjunction with the NSCC board and the producers at that time, and have seen a lot of changes in the hobby, certainly, and been intimately involved in the production of that event, from literally laying out the floor plan to all the decorating, security, signage, promotions, et cetera. And so having the production background and love of sports and media, it's crystallized into this. We get to do this every Tuesday night, and it's been a pleasure. So let's continue on with our hobby hits for the week, as we do try and inform you and give you an update of what's going on these days, and we'll take you around the world of collectibles. The 2003-2004 exquisite LeBron James RPA of 23 just sold for a record-setting $2.928 million at Golden's 100 Summer Auction. It is the highest sale of a LeBron card ever recorded. This is the same auction that saw a Shohei Ohtani 101 Superfractor clear $2.56 million, reinforcing the strength of the ultra-premium segment. PSA's grading queue, which had swelled to 14 million submissions after the pause, has fallen to roughly 12 million and is trending downward. Reporting indicates PSA is targeting a value tier reopen around October, contingent on the backlog dropping to near 5 million cards. This is one of the most consequential operational updates in grading this year. The 2026 MLB draft kicks off July 11th in Philadelphia with Roque, Cholowski, Grady Emerson, and Von Lackey widely projected at the top of the board. Collectors are already speculating on the future of those players and the first Bowman chases, even though licensed cards for this class do not yet exist, a dynamic that always shapes early July hobby behavior. The mid-year collectibles report shows premium strength and modern oversupply risk. Athlon's 2026 mid-year collectibles report highlights, 1, ultra-premium market strength driven by the record sales like Pikachu Illustrator, the Aaron Judge Superfractor, and Jordan Bryant dual autos. 2, modern oversupply concerns with liquidity varying sharply by segment. And lastly, conflicting market size estimates across research firms due to differing methodologies. This is one of the most comprehensive data-driven looks at the hobby's first half. July becomes one of the most active hobby months of 2026. You've got the MLB draft, you've got the home run derby, you've got the all-star game, and multiple high-end auction cycles. This convergence of events historically drives spikes in singles activity and short-term market volatility. And then, of course, at the end of July, the National Sports Collectors Convention will take place in Rosemont, Illinois, culminating a massive month of July. Heritage Auction reports record global bidding participation. They confirmed its summer premier collectibles auction saw the highest international bidder participation in company history, with notable increases from Europe and East Asia. Analysts say this reflects the continued globalization of high-end sports cards, comics, and TCG markets, especially for vintage and iconic intellectual property. Lastly, CGC announced that its AI-assisted counterfeit screening, previously used selectively, is now being applied across all comic submissions and cards as well. The system flags anomalies in printing patterns, gloss, ink distribution, and trimming indicators, marking one of the most aggressive anti-fraud expansions in the grading sector this year. And we have more news coming up with our resident hobby insider, Joe Wysmierski. And we'll go ahead and welcome in the Commissioner of Chaos himself. This is a man who doesn't follow hobby trends. The trends follow him, actually. He doesn't rip packs, he conducts them. The hobby's unofficial national treasure, the patron saint of dramatic reveals, the man who can make a checklist feel like a prophecy. Please welcome the desert-dwelling Sultan of Slabs, headband Joe Wysmierski.
Wow.
Thanks for that wonderful introduction, Jeremy. It's Rock Chalowski is how it's pronounced, R-O-C-H. He is a phenomenal baseball player. I believe he went to UCLA, but he's from the desert here, Jeremy. He played out at Hamilton High School, I think. So
a rock in the desert. He doesn't even have a card yet. Once it comes out, I'll be able to pronounce his name correctly.
He actually has. You actually said it correctly. He doesn't have a licensed card yet. He does have some unlicensed cards. A lot of in-person autos you can see on the internet. I've actually held a few in my hand, to be honest.
Have you held his hand in your hand?
Well, I guess. I mean, his hand was on the card, Steve. So
it's like a rock.
Yeah, it was. Guys, we are talking about World Cup mania too right now. Obviously, it's crazy. We're seeing record highs as far as TV viewership goes. Everyone's crazy patriotic. You're seeing all the stuff online about people who are coming to the United States from other countries, and they just love the hospitality and the food. And they're crazy excited about getting chips and salsa at Mexican restaurants for free and free refills, right? Those are the headlines. The thing that nobody's really talking a lot about is the Prism World Cup cards that are out. So these cards are phenomenal. Panini is still working on, maybe getting these products to come out a few weeks prior to the World Cup instead of, after the group stage has begun. But these cards have the opportunity to have some rookies for individuals. It's not only their first World Cup, but also their first card. What's interesting actually about these cards is if you look at this card right here, I have a Pedri. And Steve, I don't know how dialed into soccer you truly are. But I had to learn in this World Cup Prism, there's been in the past where you have different font for their names across the front. Well, here, this is a photo variation. So you would think it's a $2 card, right?
Okay.
It has this little V on the back next to the country's logo. Well, that essentially takes this from being a $2 card to, a week ago, one of them sold for $100+, $200. There's been like high 80s. But it takes just a simple card to being a photo variation, and there you have it. And we actually had one of these pulled in the shop today.
I know the stickers too are kind of a big deal. I know that there's a lot of shops, places are doing like trade days, trade nights with the Panini stickers. Is that something you guys are doing there?
No, so we actually were giving away albums, and we have stickers for sale. The stickers are tough because you're looking for the borders on the stickers, the different color borders that they have. That shows the rarity. But we did have the opportunity to open, and we have them in the shop here, of 2006 World Cup stickers. So that was, I believe it was Messi and Ronaldo's first World Cup, and it wasn't their rookie, but the stickers are super cool, and those have been sought after, and people have had a great time going through that stuff.
I can't wait to get Alan, the soccer guy, back on the show after the World Cup wraps up to really dive into the different players. Like Haaland is having an unbelievable tournament, right? Like I saw somebody say that his superfractor could hit $1 million, right?
I think one of them sold
Did it?
just recently, his Dortmund superfractor. So yeah, I mean, there's no need for Alan to be on there. Honestly, I'm sure he's great at what he does, but you have me, Steve. So
Sure.
I'm a soccer aficionado. Don't let the face or the body type fool you. I can definitely hold my own weight.
Well, I'd like you to do the accent if you can. That's really why we want Alan on the show.
Well, I'm not going to impersonate. Is he Irish? British?
Yeah.
Something with an ish?
Right.
He's an ish.
Okay.
Right. So listen, the World Cup's been great. Let's talk about this LeBron card that hit $2.8 million, one of 23 from the Exquisite, right? How many of the other 23 do you own?
Countless. I don't even like to get into it. Honestly, I have them in safety deposit boxes all over the United States. So it's not something I like to brag about. So this is great that the show hasn't made it yet onto the Big Play Network, because I know it reaches far more viewers than the Greenie Facebook page. So that's we're not there yet, right, Steve?
We are there.
We are.
We are live. We are there
All
right
right.
now. So
Well, I have
everybody's
none,
watching.
Steve. I have none. I have none. Those cards are beautiful, beautiful cards. Exquisite cards are phenomenal. And having one of the greatest basketball players to ever play, and having an auto and a patch auto in that instance it's almost invaluable. I mean, you really couldn't tell what the value of that card is going to be. I know it's sold for 2.5 million, but I mean, those cards only decide to keep going up and up, and it's almost like the Michael Jordan rule, right, Steve? It seems like every 2 years, Jordan starts to get another 5 to 20% increase across the board on all of his cards. So it'll be interesting once he does retire officially to see where those cards go and where they land price wise. But I think it's going to be something that consistently moves up and up from there. My question to you, Steve, is I know it's a rookie card, but and I got to consider my audience. I get it, but him being a Cavalier, does that hurt that card? Is it worth more? Is his autos worth more as a Laker? Like, and it's an honest question. I'm not poking fun, right? But it is an honest question when it comes to that kind of stuff, because when we look at, another great Otani, his Dodger stuff does incredibly well, and in some cases, some of his Dodger autos are more than his second year autos for the Angels. So
I think in this case, the Cavaliers LeBron stuff outsells all of his other teams.
that's fair, I guess.
And maybe in another week, we'll have some new Cavaliers autos.
Is he coming home?
I don't know.
Steve,
you know
break
who's
some
not
news
going to
for me.
continue to have licensed autos is Michael Jordan, who just re-upped with Upper Deck, right? So now he won't be to Topps.
Yeah, you still have a shot though, Steve, to get a good sticker auto on a Space Jam card. So
You get a
we have
Goodwin.
that
You
going
get a
for us.
Goodwin's champion auto every year.
Steve, the money has to be insane, right? To a certain extent.
The Upper
Like,
Deck money. So Michael Rubin
Listen,
couldn't afford it. He should have got it.
I'm gonna have to go on a rant here real quick, and everyone should be on my side here when it comes to this. I'm still incredibly jaded about NBA Jam, the video game, right? Or any video game, like essentially growing up on the modern consoles where you didn't have Michael Jordan because they didn't have his likeness license. So you didn't have the ability to actually be Michael. You had to be Steve Kerr and Pippen, or Horace Grant and Pippen, or Kukoc. Like, that's why the kids don't know. the kids don't know that he truly is the greatest of all time, Steve. He really is the greatest. And yet again, now they're going to see another Michael Jordan card where he's not wearing any basketball stuff. He's wearing a suit,
Right.
and you'll have an auto, or you'll have him in his Space Jam jersey.
Well,
But I want to see him in the pinstripe, black with the red pinstripe. I want to see the Bulls. I want to see it.
I thought you were going to say a White Sox jersey, black with the.
Oh. Hey, I just bought a silver script today of a White Sox jersey, so
those cards are selling, and I tell you, the Wizards ones are heating up. Just telling you that. So,
Steve, I knew a guy that bought a Wizards one and got a 10-10 on it.
He did.
Yeah.
Joe, you mentioned LeBron's autograph. Is it valued or devalued if he's on the Cavs versus the Lakers? If he goes to New York, let's play that scenario out. What does that do for his autograph?
I mean, it'll be the hottest autograph in the product. It will outdo AJ DeBonsa, who's the number one. 100%. I mean, that market, the New York Knicks, not only being an NBA champion, but that fan base kind of transcends the state of New York. And honestly, it kind of builds, there's a swell, right, of support for the Knicks. They like how they were the underdogs. I mean, Jalen Brunson, 100% a superstar. I love his story coming up with his dad being on the bench, all the guys from Villanova. Love the story of that team. But it just, I mean, it resonates with a lot of people. You didn't have any crazy superstar. As a kid who grew up in Michigan, I remember playing basketball in my driveway, being John Starks trying to make a turnaround shot as time was expiring against the Indiana Pacers. Like, I remember those things. Anthony Mason shooting a free throw with one hand, Charles Oakley. I mean, all those guys. And I grew up in Michigan, right? So, I mean, I think the New York Knicks brand, it really goes against multiple geographic markets. And if LeBron was to play in the Garden, it would be insane. Do I think you'll have the purists where it cheapens his overall legacy of kind of hopping around? Sure, but I don't think people will really care. I can tell you sitting here, and and LeBron's not my favorite guy. You're looking at a guy who I loved, Kerry Kittles. That was my favorite basketball player out of Villanova, played for the Nets. Kerry Kittles, one sock up. But I can tell you, I know exactly where I was when LeBron James signed with the LA Lakers. Like, I vividly remember that. So it was Knott's Berry Farm, if you were asking. So.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. You know, I believe he has one choice, and we'll see. But there was breaking news out of Detroit today. I don't know if you saw that. Cards HQ is opening up a second location in Detroit, your hometown. What say you on that, Joe?
Well, it is not my hometown, Steve, but within my home state. You know, we get upset when people say Detroit.
Semantics.
Like I 3 hours away, Steve. But what I'm gonna say, it's a smart move, right,
closer
Jeff?
to Notre Dame? Like, why do you like the Detroit teams?
He likes Villanova in New York.
Yeah, I mean,
apparently.
because I lived on the other side of the state. I'm a West Side guy.
You're not even from Detroit. Why do you root for them?
Because I'm from Michigan. Yeah, I know.
Oh, well, see, now he's frozen. So upset you froze.
That's because he said the M word on our show.
Oh, see, right here it is.
So,
Joe, thank you very much.
Yeah, we were
going
to wrap with Joe right about there anyways as we head towards Card Show Live. But our thanks to headband Joe Wysmierski out of Phoenix Sports Cards. You can catch him. Greenie, you know the address where you could find him, the retail shop out there.
59th and Thunderbird in beautiful Glendale, Arizona, right outside of Phoenix. The shop is terrific. I've been there many times when I go to Arizona, so I recommend you go see them at Phoenix Sports Cards at 59th and Thunderbird.
Excellent. Perhaps a peek behind the curtain here. We said we were going to work out some kinks tonight. Can we run that Card Show Live video? All right.
Maybe we can.
It's in StreamYard. We'll get there. So, again, lots of bells and whistles to come. But right now, it is time for Card Show Live as Greenie takes you around the country for the hottest card shows.
Hey, welcome on into this edition of Card Show Live from the Big Play Studios. We're going to take you around the country, go over a few of the shows that we think might be a good place for you to find some cards this week. One is Monroeville Convention Center. That is just outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is the Pittsburgh 650 Tables show put on by the PittsburghCardShow.com guys. Bryce and his team have 650 tables at the Monroeville Convention Center right outside of Pittsburgh all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Free admission, free parking. So if you're anywhere in that vicinity, take a ride, check out the Monroeville Convention Center. From there, we're going to head south to our friend James Faree, the Sports Wax Promotions. They're going to be 200 tables in Mooresville, North Carolina this weekend at the Charles Mack Citizen Center. Check that out. You know that Sports Wax Promotion, the show is here. They've run shows all over the southeast part of the country there. So check that out, sportswaxpromotions.com. Over 200 tables this weekend in Mooresville, North Carolina. From there, we're going to hit Wyoming, Michigan, not to be confused with anywhere that Joe lives in Michigan. We're going to go to Wyoming, Michigan. 100 vendors at the Rogers Plaza Card Show. That show has been going on for several years now. I reached out to them. They've recently moved from the mall over here to the Rogers Plaza. 100 vendors, Saturday, July 11th in Wyoming, Michigan. From there, we're going to head to West Virginia. Our friend Nathan Freeman has a show, the Berbersville Delta Hotel, Saturday, July 11th, 50 tables. This is a nice little local, family-friendly show. If you know anything about Nathan Freeman, has been running shows in West Virginia for years, does a terrific job, has a great network. Check that out this Saturday, July 11th, the Berbersville Delta Hotel in West Virginia. Lastly on the list here is Burridge, Illinois. The Burridge Card Show, Sunday, July 12th, with 170 tables. Quite a lot for a one-day show on a Sunday. So make sure you get out there, the Burridge Card Show in Burridge, Illinois. And wherever you are around the country, if you can't make any of those, check out your local shows or shops. And hopefully you'll find something this weekend that you will truly look forward to picking up. With that, this is Card Show Live.
Terrific stuff, Greenie. If you are out and about at a card show, let us know where you are attending at any point on our socials and interact with the show. And then let us know what you've picked up, and we'll continue on. Speaking of cool stuff and collectibles, Greenie, did you happen to notice in our new set here, there are two pieces behind my shoulder here. One is a Jack Sawyer Scoop and Score with an on-card auto, as well as a Jim Brown piece with an autograph that was done at the Hall of Fame. We want to give a big thanks to our friends Andrew and Sienna out at Hall of Framers. Terrific pieces there. If you are anywhere in the Berea area, which is just down the road from the headquarters of Cleveland Browns, make sure you check them out. These two gorgeous pieces adorning our set were provided by Hall of Framers, Northeast Ohio's premier custom framing studio. They specialize in museum-quality sports displays, shadow boxes, jerseys, memorabilia, and one-of-a-kind pieces that make your collection look its absolute best. Every frame is handcrafted, every detail is intentional, and their team delivers the kind of work you only get from true professionals. If you want your collectibles framed the right way, visit Hall of Framers at hofcle.com or stop by their shop in downtown Berea.
I could tell you, Hall of Framers does a terrific job. Andrew is one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet, too. Does a terrific job. They've been a part of our shows for the last couple of years. I've headed down to their shop several times. It's a gorgeous shop. They have a great building right there. I think it's Front Street. Is that what it is?
It is Front Street.
Front Street, downtown right downtown Berea, right across the street from the Cleveland Browns headquarters. So if you're anywhere there, I highly suggest you check out Hall of Framers.
Coming up here in just about 5 minutes, we'll talk to Josh Pankow, president of Leaf Trading Cards. We'll get his take on the hobby world and what Leaf Trading Cards is doing ahead of the National, and then, of course, what's coming up at the National. Greenie, we've got a couple minutes. We're a half an hour into our first big show at the BIGPLAY Studios. And how you feeling so far?
Good. I'm good. I'm just trying to figure out which camera to look at, who to talk to. As you know, both of our dads were professionals that did this for years, and you know we're kind of learning our weight as we go here. You know, this is our first foray into the big studio, not the traditional what we've been doing for the past 2.5 years. So we're learning, and you know what? 124 episodes from now, I think we'll get it.
one of these days we'll figure it out. So Greenie, talking about the National Sports Collectors Convention, in the next couple of weeks on the road to Rosemont, we'll have a chance to talk to some of the key producers and media personnel involved in that show. What are you looking forward to at the National?
Yeah, this is the show that, once a year, we look forward to everything. Of course, the buying and selling, that is the main thing, right? It is the mecca of card shows. But it's all the people that you don't get to see all the time that come from, all the way from Australia, or just people from different parts of the country that you don't get to see at your local show, or even the big regional show. This is a show that people gear up to go to every year. This is like a vacation, right? They come, people bring their families. So I look forward to that part every year. It's seeing the people that I don't get to see, week in and week out.
It really is a blur as well. It's the Nationals 4 or 5 days. There are trade nights. There's typically a dealer engagement, a party, or a dinner. It is a wild scene. If you have never been there, and if you have, make sure you drop a comment as well on either your favorite National experience or what you're looking forward to coming up here at the end of July. It's a whirlwind of activity. There are 2,000 dealers buying, selling, trading, everything you can imagine. It is not possible to see every one of those booths. You could walk up and down the aisles for days and still not see everything that's there. There are oftentimes, certainly over 100, probably well over 120 celebrity athlete signers, from Hall of Famers to All-Stars to famous personalities. You never know who you're going to see. And then it's a who's who of the collectibles industry from a corporate side. And it's there are trade shows and there are consumer events out there amongst practically every industry. This is a remarkable show in that it's really both. You've got a corporate pavilion and trade area, and then outside of that is just fanatical collectors.
I mean, it's so big that you actually have 2 corporate pavilions instead of 1, right? And now you have an upstairs. So it is really, I don't know the square footage. It's probably close to the 800,000 square feet if somebody's keeping track. I know that if you wear a Fitbit, you should count your steps. I mean, you're going to do a lot of walking, which is terrific. But to get from one side of the show floor to the other, it's going to take you some time. And be prepared for that. People always ask me, what are my tips and tricks? Comfortable shoes, absolutely comfortable shoes. We talked about it last week. I went out, I bought a pair of shoes. I got some Nike Air Max, some walking shoes, because I'm planning on doing some walking. Hopefully, but that is one of the things too, is you're going to hear, you'll hear some shouting because people are busting boxes and they're going to hit a big card, right? Or you're going to hear about, cards that were bought at tables. It's so much fun to hear about the action, because that's what it is. It is nonstop action from open to close every day.
I would say that's probably the biggest difference over the last couple of years that I've seen across 26 years attending and being involved in the National Sports Collectors Convention. Pre-COVID, obviously that's the delineation of when everybody went into their basements and their attics and came out on the other side of this rocket ship of collectibles. Pre-COVID, the show, it not that it wasn't fun and not that it wasn't exciting, but it had more of a museum feel to it. It was a little quieter. You had a lot of people, and they're up and down the aisles and they're making deals. It kind of had a steady pace the entire time. That first year in Rosemont, Chicago, coming out of COVID, it was like somebody shook the bottle and just let it go. It exploded into entertainment, enthusiasm, the shouting that you're talking about, the Breakers Pavilion, the live stage, the activity. It is now a show. And that to me is the biggest difference going back even 5 years ago, 6 years ago, certainly pre-COVID.
But like you said, it is a trade show. It is a consumer show. And people come there to buy cards, not just the expensive cards. Like there are people come, there's going to be booths with nothing but dollar cards, or, value bins is what they're called now. But so, if you're coming to look, you don't have to come to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can come on a budget and find cards that you like.
You can. It really is like the world's largest pop-up museum for sports memorabilia, and it's there for 5 days, then it goes away.
So the national goes away, but card shows don't, because they are popping up all over the place, and terrific. You know, we have 31 shows on our calendar this year. There's many show producers. You know, we talked to Dan Bliss, we talked to Brad Beeman, James Freeze. You know, there are big shows around the country, and you know, I tell people, support as many of them as you can.
You could find an unbelievable buy at a 40 table card show in Kirtland, Ohio, just as you can at the Dallas Card Show or the National. So, yeah, pretty amazing stuff. So, our next guest is one of the most influential executives in the modern trading card industry. Josh Pankow is the president of Leaf Trading Cards, the long-standing independent manufacturer known for its athlete-driven products, innovative autograph programs, and deep roster of NIL partnerships. Under his leadership, Leaf has continued to expand its footprint across sports, entertainment, and pop culture categories, maintaining its reputation as one of the hobby's most creative and collector-focused card companies. Josh oversees product strategy, licensing, athlete relationships, and the company's growing slate of specialty releases, amongst, I'm sure, a lot of other things, from you know, chief cook and bottle washing. He is one of the key voices shaping the non-league license segment of the hobby for sure. And it is our pleasure to welcome into Greenie Sports Cards live from the BIGPLAY Collectibles Studio, Josh Pankow.
Really appreciate the intro, guys. Appreciate it.
And you're a safe driver.
Not sure I deserve all that, but
yeah, stay safe on the road there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and an excellent driver.
I apologize. My car was supposed to be ready at 6, and they took forever, so I'm on my way home, but I should be there shortly. So
that's fine. Not a problem. We like to talk on the fly. We know maybe you're, you know, not picking up your car. We could have said you were driving to pick up a deal or to sign another NIL.
There you
player
go.
Or
that would have been more impressive for sure.
Right. We'll go with that. So before we get into what Leaf has been doing and going through the national, let's just go a little bit about your background and talk a little bit. I know that you've been in this industry a long time. You know, you started when you were younger. You had a shop in your basement, right? And you worked for Upper Deck. Take us through that. How did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, it's been a long journey that has pretty much only included trading cards. So I'm very fortunate to say that I've never had to get a real job. I started a card shop in my basement when I was about 7 years old. And then when I was old enough to have a real job, worked at the local card shop through high school and college. And then after I graduated from college, my parents proceeded to tell me that I had to get a real job. And I was like, well, that doesn't really sound like fun. So I got a job at Upper Deck, worked in product development at Upper Deck for a little over a year, and then moved back to Atlanta, which is where I was from. And since then, I had a card shop. I worked for a wholesale distributor. I did an online retail. I've had a buyback company, Break King, started a supply company, Vulcan, Shield. Really did a little bit of everything. Did some consulting for Panini and for Topps. And then about 5 years ago, I joined Leaf and have been running Leaf now for a little over 3 years, and love trading cards. It's my passion, both inside and outside of my job. It's my hobby. It's what I love. And, you know, it's been a fascinating 4 or 5 years in the hobby for sure. There's been a lot of changes, and it's, you know, ever evolving, but, you know, been setting up at the National since, 2006, 2007. So I still remember the National, and it was just a bunch of people with tables and, you know, not all the amazing fancy productions that we have now. But yeah, it's all I've ever done, and it's my love, and, you know, let's hope I can continue it for another 15, 20 years.
Josh, speaking of those changes in the industry, Leaf has carved out a unique lane as an independent manufacturer. What do you see as the biggest advantage of operating outside a league license system?
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality is that we get to do a lot of cool stuff that the league won't let Topps or Panini, when they have the licenses, do. You know, we can do a card with Lionel Messi and Steph Curry on the same card. You know, we can do a card with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Judge on the same card. You know, we can do a lot of cool and unique things with the cards because all we have to deal with are the athletes, and we don't have to deal with the leagues. And that gives us a lot of freedom for sure. And, you know, look, there are definitely people out there that only want the cards with the logos. I get that. But we try and do some stuff that's really unique and feeds off the fact that we don't have the league licenses that restrict us in some of the stuff that we can do. And I think it makes it where it's really unique and really fun. And the other thing that I think some people forget to mention, especially in today's market with the ever increasing pricing, we can keep the prices down on products. And when you look at some of our products, I mean, we have a baseball draft product that releases this Friday, and the end consumer is paying around $150 for 9 autographs. And a license company can never do that. And that's not their fault. That's just what the licenses cost. But look, the licenses are expensive, and that makes it where you have to limit the amount of actual content that collectors are getting. We're not lost on the fact that some of our cards might not be as valuable, but the reality is that we can have stuff that is a lot more affordable. And in today's market, I think affordability is a big thing, because there's a lot of products that aren't nearly as affordable as the products used to be.
Yeah, that's one of the great things that I love about Leaf. I get it too, the non-licensed, but I was able to go to a show when I was out in Missouri. I was at a show and I bought a Steph Curry game used jersey card numbered to 4 for like $300, right? Like, I mean, the stuff, well, there goes Josh. But either way, he'll be back. Leaf stuff is very affordable, Jeremy. You can
Sorry about that.
There he is. Now we're back. Technology at its finest.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know if you got to hear what I was saying, but I was
I didn't lose you guys. Not sure what happened.
Yeah, well, what I was saying is I was able to pick up a Steph Curry Leaf auto numbered to 4 at a reasonable price, and that's one of the things that I love about the products. The price point, as you said, is terrific. The way that you're able to put pieces together. Curry, Mahomes, Judge, in the way you get those autographs, like when somebody's thinking about that, like how, in your production team, how does somebody go about doing that? Like what is some of the thought process of putting people together?
Yeah, I would say we do things a lot differently than what other card companies do. And I can speak from experience there, because I worked at Upper Deck. I've helped with product development with Topps and Panini. We do it a little bit different in that we look at the assets that we have, whether it's game used, whether it's autographs, and then we determine what product we can make. And the other trading card companies are saying, we're going to make Topps Chrome, or we're going to make SPX, or we're going to do, Panini Prism, and we're going to use whatever assets we have. And look, don't get me wrong, their brand names are huge. They can make those brands without really having as many assets, and they still work. But we look at what assets we have and we say, okay, Glory of the Game Soccer that just released. We looked at that. We didn't say we have to make a soccer product. We said, we know the World Cup is coming. What assets do we have that allow us to make a compelling soccer product? And so we looked at the assets that we had, both from an autograph perspective and from a game use perspective, and said, what product makes the most sense? Can we make a product that has memorabilia? Can we make a product that's just autographed? Like, what makes the most sense based on the assets we have? And because of that, we're always looking for new deals for, we don't have to have a product in mind when we get offered a player. And I think that's another thing that sets us apart. Like, when I was at Upper Deck, we'd sit down at the beginning of the year and say, okay, these are all the guys we need to make our football products for the year. And we don't work that way at Leaf. We look at, okay, we just got offered this guy, let's find a product for him. Yeah, and like we just did a deal with Will Smith and Jamie Foxx, and we actually have a dual on-card autograph of both of them. And that's just a card that we were like, this is too cool not to do. We're going to do this deal. We'll make a card, and then we'll figure out what product it goes in later. We're not going to sit here and say, oh, well, we don't have a product that this makes sense for, so we're going to pass on the deal. So I think that's one thing that really sets us apart in terms of the way these products come together. Obviously, we have some staple products like Pop Century, like in the game use, like Pearl, that we do every year. But a lot of these other products, whether they're Spectacular, Glory of the Game, Seasons in the Sun, some of these products that are more unique, we look at what assets we have and then decide, okay, we can do this. That's how Lumber Baseball came about, that product is super successful every year. We realized we had a bunch of game used bats, and okay, why not make a baseball product that's all driven on game used bats? That wasn't a situation where we developed lumber and then went out and bought the bats. It was, we realized we had inventory, let's make this product.
Josh, Leaf releases across multiple products, sports, entertainment, pop culture. We had a big bump in the USA here with the World Cup. What category is growing fastest for you from your recent releases?
Yeah, I would say Pop Century or pop culture is still the one that grows the fastest. We're kind of the originators in that category. There's been a lot of other companies that have done it, and some of the smaller companies like a Rittenhouse or Cryptozoic have done it with a license where they do it on a much smaller scale, very specific to one movie or TV show. We've really been the first and only sustaining company that's done it across all of entertainment for 15, 20 years now. So I think that's the one thing that every time we put out those products, they perform well, they sell very well. People are asking for more because it's just very unique and very different than anything that's out there. And we're able to get some of the biggest and best names in the world. The last pop culture had Johnny Depp, and we have gotten Clint Eastwood, and we've had Britney Spears and Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and Joe Pesci and Macaulay Culkin and Chris Pratt, and so Margot Robbie. We get all the big names just like anybody else does. But again, we're able to mix them all up, and that's what's cool about it. And look, Topps has done some really cool things with some entertainment, but it's all based on specific shows or movies. Look, if you're not a Disney guy, you might not want Tom Hanks' autograph as Woody. Now look, if you're a Disney guy, that's cool, but like we may be able to just give you a Tom Hanks autograph where you just like Tom Hanks and you get it because it's just Tom Hanks. So I think that's one thing that's an avenue that we continue to look at expanding. Pop culture has gotten bigger and bigger each year. Last year we incorporated the red carpet product, which was our super high end, had some memorabilia items, had some crazy cards within the product. That's a product that we're going to bring back again this year. And then we're always looking to potentially look for new avenues where we can put pop culture into products. And then again, kind of cycling back to the non-licensed, we can throw Johnny Depp into a baseball product, into a football product, into a soccer product, into whatever products we want, into our multi-sport product. Our multi-sport products often have a ton of pop culture celebrities in them because we can throw them in there, and they add tremendous value. And look, you might not open up in the game use to get Johnny Depp, but who's really going to be disappointed that they get a Johnny Depp or Clint Eastwood autograph?
Yeah,
Most people are going to be pretty happy.
That's right. Speaking of some of those things, we were talking earlier, the National is 2.5 weeks away. Leaf always has a terrific booth. You make national packs. What can people expect out of Leaf at this year's National?
Yeah, look, we're continuing to do redemption packs, and I've heard some different things from other companies. I think, the redemption process has changed for a lot of companies. We're really standing pat with what it's always been. You buy boxes of Leaf from some of the vendors within the show. We're not restricting which vendors can sell. There's really no restrictions on it. And then you bring the boxes over, we give you redemption packs. This year, the redemption packs will include 4 cards in every pack. Every card will be numbered to 99 or less, and then there'll be autographs numbered to 5 or less randomly inserted. And it's all multi-sport, there's pop culture, there's multi-sport, there's some younger players, there's some amazing veterans, classic players, Lionel Messi, Johnny Depp, names like that. So it's fun because it's just a random mixture of cards, and they're all numbered. Everything is easy to get. We typically don't run out. We don't ration them. Look, I get it. Some of this stuff is unavoidable these companies, but we want to make it as easy of a process and as good of a process for the end consumer, because our view is that the National is about the end consumer almost being rewarded for supporting Leaf, not just at the show, but supporting Leaf as a brand. And so they get to come to the National and they get to buy some boxes and bring them over and hopefully get some cool redemption packs and get some cool stuff on product that they would hopefully buy anyway. And that's what I've always told people, even back when I was selling other companies' products. Like, buy the products that you want. Don't buy the products just to get the redemption packs, because it's funny, like every year we'll have somebody buy a box of some random product and they'll come over and I didn't want bull riding. Well, why did you buy it? Well, I bought it to get the redemption pack. Well, buy something that you want and get the redemption pack as a bonus. But we're going to keep doing that. We've got a ton of packs. We're not going to run out. We're going to give them away the whole show. And we want people to have a positive experience at the National. And, look, the other thing we really try and do is we be present. And if people want to come up to me and talk to me, they're welcome to. And I think that's definitely unique. I don't know that you can go up to Fanatics booth and talk to Mike Mahan or Michael Rubin, and I don't know that you can do that with Panini either. And look, they're huge companies, so I get it. Those guys are super busy. But we want to talk to the customers. If a customer has product feedback, if they have just market feedback in general, if they have ideas, if they want to ask us questions, we want to be present. I'm there every hour that the show is open. Now, I may have meetings and things like that, but I'm going to be present and I'm going to be there and be able to talk to people and give people an experience, because most people can't just pick up the phone and call a manufacturer and get an answer. So we want to give them that opportunity. We realize these people are spending a lot of money, not just on travel, but at the show, to get into the show, the hotels, everything. It's expensive, and it gets more expensive each year. So we want to give them as much bang for their buck as we possibly can.
Josh, we touched on autographs a little bit here. Autograph integrity is a major concern for the hobby. What steps does Leaf take to ensure authenticity and maintain trust with collectors?
Yeah, that's a big thing for sure. Yeah, and I think unfortunately it happens in the industry where there's fake stuff out there. There's stuff that gets kicked by companies. It's a frustrating thing for us because we really try and do everything we can to ensure that all these deals are done the right way. We have affidavits that all the athletes have to sign. We request videos and photos from every signing that we do if we can't personally be present at the show or at the signing, because look, some of these people don't, when we do a deal with Margot Robbie doesn't want some Leaf employee sitting in her house. I get that, but we get a picture of her signing and videos and affidavits, and look, there's no perfect system, as much as I wish there was. But we do everything we can. Now, admittedly, a lot of those pictures and videos are for internal use only. Like, we're not really going to go out there and post a bunch of this stuff just because a lot of this is very private stuff for the signers. But we do everything we can to ensure if we get a batch of autographs back that looks different, we reach out to the agent right away. We've actually had times when we've reached out to the agents and made them show us a video of the player signing that way because we just weren't super confident in the autograph to make sure. And then when we get an autograph, if we're not, if it's a new autograph, a lot of the times we'll sit there and make sure we see how they sign first to make sure that we know what their autograph actually looks like. Because look, especially some of these high schoolers, some of these young kids we're signing, there's no comps out there. They don't have a bunch of autograph memorabilia or other cards. So in that instance, we want to sit there with the first signing and watch them sign. And we've done that with a lot of these guys where we've physically watched them sign to make sure that it's consistent from autograph to autograph. It's there again, there's no perfect system, but we really try and do everything we can to make sure. And I know, look, there's been some scrutiny over certain things, whether it's I know at first PSA kicked a couple Michael J. Fox autographs that we had with the on card. I literally was at the show and watched him sign every single autograph. I know 100% that they're real. Unfortunately, Michael J. Fox is very private because of his condition with videos and photos. So we're not able to post anything. And I understand to the end consumer that's frustrating. But I mean, I sat there and watched him sign every one because I knew that would be a pretty highly scrutinized signing. Lionel Messi, I've got photos and videos. Steph Curry, I've got photos and videos. We've got dates and signings, and it's all done the right way. We don't just randomly send a packet to some dude we've never talked to, and all of a sudden 2,000 Steph Curry autographs come back, and we're like, oh, these look good. It's definitely not like that. We do everything we can to vet. We use specific people that we only will do deals with. We get approached all the time by people that say they have this or say they have that. If they're not vetted and we don't know who they are, we're not interested. And so much of it goes through the agents where, the agents are putting their name on the line. So look, maybe I'm naive. I like to believe that the vast majority of stuff out there is legitimate and authentic when it's coming from the manufacturers. The thing that I've always said is the manufacturers, and I will throw this for Topps and Panini, I'll give everyone credit. We have so much to lose if it ever came out that we were intentionally faking autographs or even unintentionally faking autographs, that I find it very hard to believe that if any of us were uncertain about anything, that we would do it.
So of all the years that you've been doing this and your previous jobs and now with Leaf, what's like the coolest card that you have had a product like produced?
That's a great question. I'll give a couple different answers because I've been with different companies. The coolest card when I was at Upper Deck was we had bought a 1927 World Series ticket that Babe Ruth signed. And it was basically the perfect size that would fit into a card. So I got to hold it and I got to, see it firsthand. And that went into a card basically in its entirety. I mean, that was probably one of the most iconic cards. I haven't seen it surface in many, many years. This was back 20 years ago, but that was just an amazing piece of history, an amazing card that we were able to pull off. Really, it had to do with just the fact that we were able to buy this amazingly cool piece of memorabilia, but it just fit perfectly into a card, so it was really amazing. At Leaf, one of my favorite cards that we've done is we did a deal with Cillian Murphy, who won the Best Actor Oscar for Oppenheimer a couple years ago, and we were able to get him to inscribe 40 of his autographs with Oppenheimer, and we actually dropped a card literally minutes after he won the Oscar on our website that were inscribed with the Oppenheimer inscription that were basically commemorating him winning the Best Actor Oscar. And that's just, I'm a big movie guy. Like, that was just the timing of it to be able to drop it literally within minutes of him winning, and having a picture of him from Oppenheimer, having the card inscribed Oppenheimer, and there only being 40 of these in existence. Like, that was just a really cool card for me to be able to pull off and get out there onto the market.
Josh, we have about a minute left here. We really appreciate you joining us this evening. We're looking forward to seeing you and talking to you at the National Sports Collectors Convention. Speaking of looking ahead, what excites you most about Leaf's direction at this point, whether it's product innovation, new partnerships, expansion, or anything else? What gets you excited these days?
Yeah, I think the thing that still gets me the most excited is when we have opportunities to do new signings, to get new names. I think circling back to pop culture, that's the most exciting thing on the pop culture side, because in sports, it's almost impossible to find somebody that doesn't have autographs. There's very, very, very few players that have never had autographs. In pop culture, that's not true. There's still thousands of names. I mean, we could rattle off 10 in 5 seconds with Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Tom Cruise. I mean, there's so many names, Julia Roberts. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. So there's so many names that you're looking to always try and get and achieve, all these white whales, so to speak. But it's fun to be able to chase them, and occasionally you pull one off, and occasionally you get a Johnny Depp, or you get an Al Pacino, or you get a Clint Eastwood. And so I think that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most. As we move forward, we're going to continue to try and do as much pop culture, as much multi-sport, and as much game used as we possibly can, because those three products seem to be the ones that really resonate the best with collectors. Is just those three things are something that I think sets us apart from a lot of the card companies, to be able to do that, again, at an affordable price, where the market has taken a turn for affordability, where a lot of these boxes are $800 to $1,000, and we still put out really, really cool products that are, I say, only $200 to $300. I know that's still a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things in the market, it's not the way the market is these days.
Fantastic stuff, Josh. We really appreciate your time. Glad you're able to make it in the car. We appreciate everything. Can't wait to see you in a couple weeks at the National, and we'll talk a little bit more there.
That sounds great. I appreciate the time from you guys, and I'm happy to discuss anytime.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, guys.
Terrific. Our thanks to Josh Pankow, president of Leaf Trading Cards. Also want to thank Joe Wysmierski, our resident hobby insider, the commissioner of chaos, as it were, out there in Phoenix, Arizona. I want to thank Haley on the board here with us, as well as Ryan, the show savior. If you happen to have any of the Big Play cards, you might find one of those of Ryan in the Big Play set. Our thanks to Big Play themselves for taking this chance with us and growing the collectibles industry, to Dave, Mike, Nick, Ryan, Jack, and Bailey especially, and the extended Big Play family as well. We made it, Greenie. We made it through the hour. We will be here every Tuesday night, coming to you live 7 to 8 p.m. as we continue to grow this show. And again, we'll incorporate more of the video content, the bells and whistles, and our partnership with the Big Play Collectibles Network will take them out to the shows and be a part of that growing content as well. So more to come from our shows, from shows across the country, and your local neighborhood. So our thanks for you for tuning in. Drop a comment, drop a like, let us know where you're watching, let us know what your favorite find was this week. And Greenie, thanks to you most of all for letting us do this and continuing to grow Greenie Sports Cards. And may the cards forever be in your favor.
That was fun. Episode 124 and number 1 in the new studio. We can't wait to see where this progresses. And until then,